Alright then, hello and welcome to the Game Week 4 predictions on the Premier League. Bear with me as I'm still disorganised completely. I've had to redo all the teams again because FIFA had an update and it fucked all my teams up, so I had to switch them all about again. Hopefully this is as accurate as we can get. There are some players that I haven't moved all of from clubs because I just can't be arsed honestly. And ultimately, they might come on the pitch when they shouldn't even be playing for the club, or they might come on the pitch when they're injured. I've ordered it so that the starting 11 and the bench have players that don't have injuries. Like, they don't, none of them have, well, start that again because I had a stroke there with that sentence. Basically, if you've got an injury, you're on the reserves. If the game subs them on, that's out of my control because I've got the bench as fully fit players. I've got the starting 11 as fully fit players, so I don't know where to go beyond there. Just for the record as well, I know this might not come to fruition, but I've started Højlund for United because this is could be his debut, and I'm gonna make it be his debut because I want it to be. So without any further ado, we'll load into the simulation in the background, and I'll get my results predictions up in a minute. We'll let it load up, and we'll let the lineups happen because it's a big game.
Thank you for attending the Emirates Stadium. Enjoy the match.
Sorry if I'm being silent, just letting the game load up. Right, let's get my results up because the game's about to start. I've written down this time. I'm more organised. Yep, Højlund starting. I don't know if he's going to be number 17 in real life. I don't think he is, actually. But I can't change the shirt numbers. There's Declan Rice in the background as well for Arsenal. So, I don't want to talk about this game in too much depth, which is good because it's the last game to talk about, which is also good. So, without any further ado, let's get into the Premier League predictions for this week. First game of the week, Luton Town versus West Ham United. Now, initially, a lot of people, including me, had West Ham down as a team who might struggle this year, but they have done some very good business this window, and as we come to deadline day, I'm a bit more confident that they're going to be strong. So I think it is going to be a tough day for Luton. I mean, West Ham won't have all the new signings integrated yet, they won't all be able to start yet, and they'll still all need to gel together. But I still think it is going to be a good day for West Ham. I think it's going to be close. I think Luton will run them close. But I think it will be 3 points for the Hammers, and I've gone for a 2-1 victory. It might actually be more because they've got some good attacking players they brought in now, and some good defensive players as well that'll probably stop Luton. It's going to be a difficult one, really, for Luton to get through, and I think it will be another loss for the newly promoted team. Unfortunately, I'd like to see the fairy tale story of Luton come to fruition, but I don't want to be the bad guy, as Billie Eilish would say, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening somehow, to be honest with you. So up next then. Wait, I think I started Varane and he's got an injury. Hold on. Let me VAR this. Well, I'm not changing it now, but I think Varane's got another injury and I started him. Well, so where she blows. Apparently he could return on the 4th of September, which technically is Sunday, which I know it's the 3rd, but I'm getting away with it. I'm not changing it now. Oh dear. Cracking save from Onana. Anyway, for the next, 2-1 win to West Ham. Sorry, I got distracted there. Up next then on the list is a match between two teams that will probably get involved definitely in the relegation battle, maybe even go down. It's Sheffield United versus Everton. I think it might be one of the worst games of the season, to be honest with you. Both teams will be scrapping, fighting, clawing for the 3 points because it'll be important to both teams, but I don't see either team winning. And honestly, with the way Everton and Sheffield United going, I don't even see either team scoring. So I've gone for a 0-0 in that one. It's going to be a scrap and a half because both teams will want to prove their haters wrong, avoid relegation. I've not got Everton to go down, but I do have Sheffield United. And I feel like I'm going to be wrong. I think both will end up going down by the end of the season. With the way Everton has started, no goals yet in this Premier League season. Only just beating Doncaster in the Carabao Cup. It's going to be a difficult season for them. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw between Sheffield United and Everton. Up next then on the list, it is Brentford versus Bournemouth. Two teams that have strengthened really well this summer. Two teams that one of them I thought might be getting involved in the relegation fight this year, but looking at predictions now, I wish I could switch Bournemouth around because they've done some great business and they look ready to even maybe go for a top half finish. There's some great signings there. Same with Brentford. They've got some great business done. They've got some quality form going on right now as well. And when Ivan Toney comes back, he'll only help them, I believe, to get even higher. It's going to be a close game, a lot closer than maybe initially thought. I'm going to say it's going to be a win for Brentford. I feel like they're just too strong right now for Bournemouth. It's going to be very close, but I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Brentford. It's going to be a late winner, I think, for Brentford as well, because Bournemouth will just keep them held for a good portion of the game, and in the end it will be a victory for the London side. But it's going to be a close one, and I'm actually quite looking forward to watching that one, if I'm able to. Fourth on the list then, Burnley versus Spurs. Now, we all make memes about Spurs. We all have laughs about Spurs. But realistically, Spurs have started the season off fantastically. I think they're still undefeated, aren't they, if I remember correctly? They beat us. They draw to Bournemouth, I can't remember. They played somebody last week and they beat them. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But in the midweek, they did lose to Fulham in the Carabao Cup second round on penalties. So that will maybe dent the morale a bit. And I think Burnley will look to take advantage of that. And I think it's going to be a close game at Turf Moor. Burnley will be looking to get their first points on the board after being touted to easily survive relegation with a good manager and a good team. And I think they'll want to prove that. And I think Spurs may still be rocked from that loss against Fulham. And I reckon it's going to be a 2-2 draw. They still haven't found their goal scorer yet. Yes, players are chipping in with goals, but they don't have an actual striker. I mean, they do have an actual... Right, okay, that's probably bad wording. They do have an actual striker in Richarlison. It's just they don't have a man who's going to, replace the 30-plus goals that Kane left, the 15-plus assists that Kane left. But they've got plenty of good signings in. Maddison has started off fantastically, and the attack is looking good despite the lack of goals from striker. The goals are coming from around the team, so I'm saying Spurs score a couple as well. I've gone for a 2-2 draw, partly because I feel like Burnley will be out to prove themselves, and partly because Spurs will still feel it from midweek. I'm probably going to be wrong on that. It'll probably be a Spurs win, but I'm still thinking that it's going to be dropped points for Spurs. They're still going to be undefeated. They're still going to get a point, but Burnley will get their first point of the new Premier League season, in my opinion. And then Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. It'll be the last game we talk about before half-time here, so we can split 5-5 in the game. So Chelsea hosting Nottingham Forest at Stamford Bridge. A bit of a struggle recently in terms of football. Not recently, but we all know it's well publicised that they've been struggling despite all the signings they've made. But a great showing against Luton. I've got to give them credit. I know it's Luton, but Chelsea seem to work well as a team there. And even in midweek against Wimbledon, they did nearly mess it up, but ultimately came through. And even though it was not a great result, it was still a great performance from Chelsea. I don't think there was any real, even when Wimbledon went up a goal, I don't think there was any real doubt that Chelsea were going to win that. At least in my mind, it would have been fucking hilarious, but no. Chelsea make it through, so I had a good show in the midweek as well. And I think with all these new signings, once the window closes and Todd Bowley takes a break from signing everybody in the world, I reckon he'll hopefully have enough time for his team to gel together. I say hopefully, I don't want them to gel together because I want Chelsea to fail purely because I'm a Man United fan. But I think there'll be plenty of time for all these signings to gel together. I don't know how they're all going to play, but they'll all get ready to maybe put an assault on the top 4 places. So ultimately, I think it is going to be a close one with this one because Nottingham Forest have the ability to shock. Like, for example, last weekend, they scored twice past us in 4 minutes, and they nearly took it from us. They probably should have taken it from us, to be honest. We've been very lucky with our wins so far this season, both against Wolves and Forest. But we'll talk about us in a bit. But yes, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Chelsea. I think they'll just sneak it. I don't think it's going to be any mad thrashing from the Chelsea boys, and I don't think it's going to be any goals from Forest, really. I think it's probably going to be 1-0 win to Chelsea, and that is half-time. Right, well, I've got my second half predictions ready. I've got my other 5 ready. Let's just go into the second half here. Arsenal doing better in the sim. They probably beat us in real life, honestly, but it's the way she blows. So second half then. So the 6th game on the list is Manchester City hosting Fulham at the Etihad. Man City are going to win the Premier League again, aren't they? I mean, even when Haaland isn't on form, which against Sheffield United it looked a bit ropey, there's just always going to be some amount of City quality to see them through. Like Rodri is the best DM in the Premier League, and I want to argue Casemiro, but I just can't. Rodri is absolutely clear. It's ridiculous at the moment. City are stacked. They've signed plenty of players as well to continue their assault on their 4th straight Premier League title. They've gotten Gvardiol in defence. Didn't really necessarily need to. They've lost Laporte, but I guess Gvardiol will probably seal that gap. They've signed well this year as well. They've not really signed too many, obviously, but they've also sold what they need to sell. Cole Palmer's a bit of a surprising one, especially to Chelsea for that amount of money, especially when he's a young, good talent, but I reckon City know what they're doing. I mean, it's quite obvious City know what they're doing. They replaced Laporte with Gvardiol. And we brought in Johnny Evans, so that's kind of the levels we're at. Anyway, ultimately, it's going to be another win for City, and I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory. I think Fulham will score early to shock, then City will just be City and win 3-1, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a run-of-the-mill game once again for Manchester City, and they will be victorious. Following that, then, will be a very fun showdown here, in my opinion. Brighton and Newcastle. 2 teams that have started off this season on fire. Of course, Newcastle did end up losing to City, but beyond that, have started the season on fire. I mean, Newcastle as well. Not Chelsea. I don't know why I went Chelsea there. I saw Chelsea on my screen. But yeah, Newcastle just found out their group of death in the Champions League as well. That might be motivation to do a bit better in the Premier League if they can't make it through to try and get top 4 again. So it's going to be an interesting game. Brighton have started off the season fantastically as well. And I don't see how they don't get Europe again, to be honest with you. And I'm regretting putting them down in 8th, I think it was, or 7th, because they look fantastic at the moment. And unless injury or something stops them, I don't see them stopping. Or even transfers, maybe in January, even on the last day of the transfer window, which is today, might have some last-minute exits that they won't be able to sort out. I don't know. But I think this is going to be a goal fest. I think it's going to be an absolute goal fest. I think it's going to go crazy. And I've put it down for a 3-3 draw because I think it's just going to be goal after goal after goal. I don't see it being a conservative affair, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be very one-sided either. I think it is going to be the fact where it's just going to be ridiculous and it's just going to be popping off with goals. So 3-3 draw is what I'm thinking there. Next up on the list, Crystal Palace versus Wolves. This might be my most, I wouldn't say accurate, but the one I'm most confident in this weekend for it to come to fruition. Crystal Palace looking decent, not looking fantastic, but looking like, I don't think they're going to be in a relegation battle, which is probably best for Palace, really. But ultimately, it is going to be a difficult day for Wolves again. I don't really know what to tell you about that because Wolves are not doing too great. We didn't think they'd be doing too great. Obviously, against us, they should have beaten us, like, first day of the season. But you can't really just put it down to that first performance against us because they played Brighton the next week, or last, I can't remember what week it was. It's all coming together too fast. But basically, they played Brighton, lost 4-0. So it's not always deserved, and they need that goal scorer, which it looks like they're not going to get, honestly. I don't know how they've not signed a striker, but it's going to be a close encounter. I think Palace will just have the edge in quality and the edge in ability, and it is going to be a 1-0 win to Crystal Palace. It's going to be a close one. I think Wolves will put them to the sword like they put us to the sword, but again, I don't think they'll be able to finish their dinner. I think it will go to Palace. I think that's probably a fair review and fair result of the game. That's probably, like I said, the one I'm most confident in. Palace will sneak a win. I don't think it'll be a big goal-scoring filled game. I think it's just going to be a nice win for Palace with no. I say nice win. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be scrappy, but it's going to be there's going to be not really any challenge from Wolves because their finishing is awful. On the simulation here, Onana is fucking bailing us out, big style. I'm not gonna lie. Up next, then, the penultimate game of Game Week 4 is Liverpool hosting Aston Villa. Now, this is an interesting one because Liverpool looked like they were going to lose to Newcastle last week. And honestly, I thought they were going to lose to Newcastle last week. They had a goal. Newcastle had a goal up. Then they went down to 10 men, Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk getting sent off. And then the holy second coming of Darwin Núñez put Liverpool through for a 2-1 win. Now, if they can do that, I feel like Liverpool can do anything. Anthony scored. Love to see that. Wish you could do that in real life. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be another Darwin Núñez masterclass. He surely gets the start now with that victory. Well, helped with that victory against Newcastle. A hero in that one. And I think it is going to be another similar story. It's going to be another hard-fought win for Liverpool. I think they will win, though, unfortunately. I hate to admit it, but I think they will win. Excuse me, headset. Caught my foot in my cable there for whatever reason. But yes, I think it is going to be another win for Liverpool. It's going to be a 2-1 win. Núñez will score again. I don't think he'll score both of them. I think they'll score one of them. Salah will score the other. They'll get a goal through Watkins or David Luiz penalty. But I don't see it being a win for whatchamacallit, for Aston Villa. I think Liverpool will win again, and I hate to admit it, but I think they're probably a very good challenge for top 4, especially how we're playing right now. We're not playing great, so they'll take advantage of that by getting as many wins as they can. I can't lie, it was a great performance second half against against Newcastle. I was watching it while I was working, and it was a great performance second half. And I hate to admit it, but Liverpool do look good this year. And in the final game, the one you're seeing on your screen, it is Manchester United, well, Arsenal, I should say. Which is Arsenal first because they're hosting. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United. Now, usually, I'd be somewhat confident. I'd be somewhat ready for this. This time around, I couldn't be dreading it more. Arsenal, maybe not the greatest of starts to the season. They have won games, but it's been close on occasion. But we can't say great starts because we've had a shit start. Poor performance against Wolves, poor performance against Forest, although we did rally in the second half. I do respect that from us. And a poor performance against Spurs, where we actually lost that game. We could have been on 0 points right now. We're lucky to be on 6 out of 9, if I'm being honest with you. And bias is going to show in the scoreline prediction, by the way. I just want to make that clear out the gate. Bias is going to show. I'm going to be honest. I think Arsenal beat us. But I've put it as a 2-2 draw because I want to hope, I want to believe, but I don't see how we're going to get anything out of Arsenal, to be honest, because they're very good. They're looking very good, and we are not looking as good as we could be. And we've not really signed everyone we could. I'm hoping we get a centre-back today. I hope we get somebody today to help with full-back issues as well. We signed Region on loan, which is not great, but it's solid. I'm not going to complain about it too much because it's a decent option. It's just not fantastic. I'm sure he won't start tomorrow. Well, I say tomorrow, Sunday. I think it's going to be Dalot that starts off the left, and then Wan-Bissaka starts off the right. But it's just these injury issues aren't helping. But the poor form does not do anything for us. The poor form fucks us over as well, and it's kind of annoying because I would like us to do well, but obviously something's gone wrong. We were doing so well in pre-season. Something's gone wrong in between. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but it needs to be fixed ASAP. Otherwise, we are going to be dragged out of the top 4 and into a mid-table battle. We don't want to become the next Chelsea. We don't want to become the next Chelsea at all, do we? No offence to Chelsea, but we don't want to be. Anyway. I think that's me with the predictions. I think that's a 2-all for that one. We'll let the match end because it looks like we're going to win on the simulation, which is quite good. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think we're going to win 1-0. I want to make that crystal. And it might still not be 1-0 in the simulation. We might still... Oh, no, it will be. Okay, well, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I don't think we're going to win 1-0. I just want to make that clear. And I don't believe it's going to be Anthony that scores. Because at the moment, Anthony is not doing great. But anyway, I'd like it to happen. Obviously, I'd like it to happen. I just don't think it will. Arsenal, I think, beat us. But I've gone for a 2-all draw out of pure bias. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. I had to wake up really early, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. But anyway, that is what the game thinks is going to happen. I'm totally on board with it. And once again, just to go over the results in a minute. Winner, World Class AI, of course. But anyway, this is what it is going to be in terms of my predictions. Obviously, leave your own predictions in the Twitch chat or in the comments of the YouTube video if you want to join in. I'm absolutely fine with that. Yeah, I say join in. It's not really a game. Just leave your predictions if you want to. So I've gone Luton 1, West Ham 2, Sheffield United 0, Everton 0, Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1, Burnley 2, Spurs 2, Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 3, Fulham 1, Brighton 3, Newcastle 3, 1 for Crystal Palace and 0 for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I messed up a little bit there. Let's go. Liverpool 2, Villa 1, and then the most biased result of the weekend. It ain't going to happen, but Arsenal 2, Manchester United 2. We are absolutely not taking anything off of Arsenal, I don't think, but I'd like to believe, and maybe we will. Who knows? It's a weird game, this football. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the match week 4 predictions, and I will see you next week for match week 5, which hopefully will go a little better than this if I get all these wrong. Yeah, peace.